Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and happy Thursday evening at that. My name's Renisha Allen, and I am a proud member of District 44. And tonight we are here to host and welcome you to Lighthouse Lesson 5. As leaders, every now and then, as we are navigating the torrential waters of leadership and all that we're called to do in servitude, we need a lighthouse to show us the way, but to also give us hope through those dark and trying times. Also, what we need is a little extra help, someone reaching out to us and saying, I've got you. You can do this. You can finish strong. And that is why we are so passionate about tonight's topic, which is about succession planning one-on-one and building a pipeline of leaders. So we are super excited to share this with you. And that is because in order for Toastmasters International to be successful, we must strategically find those men and women that are ready to step up to the plate. And we want to see where that untapped potential is. Seth Godin said it like this: leadership is the art of giving people a platform for spreading ideas that work. We definitely want to open it up and hear the voice of the Toastmaster, because after all, Toastmasters is where leaders are made. Without further ado, we have a power-packed panel tonight so that not only can one person give you some best practices, but an entire panel can do so. Before we hear from them, I want to remind you why we are here and what we do. It all is encompassing with our district mission. We build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. What better way to do that than with an amazing pipeline of leaders? And then our club mission says we provide a supportive and positive learning environment in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. That is my personal favorite. I am a test and learn individual, and I love a good positive environment to do so. We want to set you up for success tonight. So, brief housekeeping rules: please mute your phone and computer unless you are speaking. Be present, be attentive, and engage. And don't forget, even though we're having a discussion, you have our full permission to have fun. And while we're having fun, these are our objectives this evening. We want to discuss leadership development and succession planning. We want to help you identify future leaders and untapped potential. And last but certainly not least, we want to impart knowledge and best practices. So we'll bring back up our welcome slide as our fellow Toastmasters are continuing to join us tonight. And I want to show you who we've lined up on this dynamic and powerful panel this evening. So let's hear it from each of them. We will allow them to unmute and treat this like a table topic. Tell us how long you've been in Toastmasters, why you like leadership, and what club you are a part of. So how long you've been in Toastmasters, why you like leadership, and also what club you are a part of. Up first, let's hear it from the wonderful and lovely Lee Ice, Distinguished Toastmaster Lee Ice. Lee?
Good evening, everyone. It is so exciting to see you here tonight. My name is Lee Ice, as it has been said. I am a Toastmaster, and I've been a Toastmaster since 2005. So you can kind of do the math and see how long that has been. So 2005 was the year that I really bounced into action. I am a retired educator, but educators are always doing what they do, and that is educating, teaching others. So we're excited tonight, and I like to tell you that I love leadership, because leadership is the thing. It is the thing that will determine whether an organization or a club is stable. It will determine the future of an organization. So I love that, and it's good to be here with you tonight. It's going to be exciting, I'll tell you that.
Lee, thank you so much for sharing your valuable time with us and being a panelist tonight. Next, we'd like to hear from Yanni. Yanni, here's a reminder. How long have you been in Toastmasters? Why do you like leadership? And what club are you a member of? Or it may be multiple clubs. Who knows?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm Yani Wen. I am a proud member of my corporate club, Global Orators. I've been with them for the past 6 years. I also a proud community club of Dream Talkers. I've been with them for the past year. What I like about leadership, you serve the community, you give back to the community what you have learned, and with that you keep learning. That's what I like the most about the leadership. Back to you, Renisha.
Thanks, Yanni, and congratulations to you on your most recent accomplishment as Distinguished Toastmaster. We celebrated that at the spring conference. Very glad to have you as a part of the family called DTMs. DTM, DTM, DTM. We'll
Thank
take
you.
it. Absolutely. Up next, she is a powerhouse in her own right, Katrina Foster. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We want to know how long you've been in Toastmasters. Why do you like leadership? And what club or clubs are you a member of?
Good evening, everyone. I am a proud member of Revenue Toasters in Division C, and I have been a Toastmaster for 4 years now. And the reason I love leadership is because I get a chance to pull others outside of their comfort zone and up and pull them up at the same time. We need more people to speak up and speak out so that we have an environment that evolves with time so the legacy continues on with innovation. So it gives everyone a chance to include themselves when you pull them up as a leader.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Katrina, and thank you for spending your valuable time with us this evening. We just created this name for her on the fly tonight. Up next is Elaine the Great. Elaine, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in Toastmasters? Why do you like leadership? And what's your club?
Well, I am a club member along with Yanni Wynn. I am a charter member of Global Orders Toastmasters and have been a Toastmaster since the club chartered in 2013. I love leadership because it gives me an opportunity to grow others, help them to develop, but it gives me a sense of accomplishment in helping others to do a job and be successful. Jobs are more than money. What you learn, you grow from.
Awesome. Elaine, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And last but certainly not least, we have Yolandi on the line with us tonight. Yolandi, how long have you been a Toastmaster? Why do you like leadership? And what clubs are you a member of? Distinguished Toastmaster, Yolandi Berta.
Thank you, Renisha, and I'm glad to be here. I have been a Toastmaster for 30 years. And I noticed that you asked which clubs am I a member of? And I am a member of Herzing Toastmasters. I've been a member there since 2004. And I'm also a member of the Dream Talkers. And I've been a member there since 2014. And then previous that I was and still am a member of Dogwood Toastmasters in District 14. So I spread myself out over the two districts. And why I like being a leader in, well, I like having a front row seat to what is happening. And not only do I want to like having the front row seat, but I like being able to steer a little bit the direction that we're moving in. As I would like to think that I am helping to steer it the direction that we're going. I like to think that I'm steering it in a good direction. And I like helping people. It's always a very it feels good to see others succeeding, and especially if I was able to do something about that, help them along. And yep, I believe that answers all of your questions, correct?
It does. Thank you so much for being with us. And to all of our panelists, thank you for sharing your brilliance and your time with us this evening. Here we are on the verge of club officer election season. And it is our hope and our wish that we have not waited until the end of the fourth quarter to start thinking about who can fill the slot of president, VPE, VPPR, VPM, secretary, sergeant at arms, treasurer, etc. Also, from a district standpoint, we hope we have not waited to be down to the wire. Who could be the next great area director, the next great division director? Who can fill the senior 7? Who can be an amazing job at the trio? These are just some examples. But we want to be doing some work along the way to build a pipeline of leaders. And as a part of building a pipeline of leaders, one of the first things we want to discuss tonight is the importance of self-assessment and self-awareness. I am a firm believer that in order to see things in others, you also need the gift and the skill of seeing things within yourself. So let's start tonight's leadership discussion around that topic. We're going to go in reverse order of the introductions, which means we'll land on Yolandi to open that up. Yolandi, with your experience as a leader, how important has it been for you to have a self-assessment and self-awareness of who you are and what you're capable of doing?
Thank you, Renisha. It has been just critical to have self-awareness, because when we're interacting with others, we need to understand how they will react to us, and that the actions that we and the demeanor that we present to them, they will usually react to that particular demeanor or the actions. So we need to know how to behave towards them and how to present ourselves so that we do not alienate them. That if we alienate people, we're not able to help them. And in Toastmasters is a volunteer organization. They do not have to be there as people who go to work and expecting a paycheck. You know, they have to be there because they're waiting. They want the paycheck in exchange for their time and effort. But Toastmasters do not have to be there. They're volunteers. So it's very important to be aware of how we engage with people and how we treat them.
Aware of how we engage with people and how we treat them. Elaine, we'd love for you to add on more to that for what Yolandi has established there. How important is self-examination and self-awareness as we are leading others and even leading ourselves? Unmute. You got this.
I don't think a leader can really be successful if they are not self-aware. And I was listening to Yolanda and I wrote down a very well-known quote. Don't know who said it, I've forgotten. Seek first to understand in order to be understood. And I think that one of the things that comes along with that is to ensure you're gentle with people. Don't be brash. Don't just, there are leaders who are just pounding with a hard fist or stand over you. And I've seen all that. And it's not fun to be in that seat. So really spending time to work with people around you allows you to do your job and do it well and leave a legacy behind. And that's what's important.
Very nice. Nicely done. Thank you so much, Elaine. And Katrina, here you are getting ready to close the chapter on division director. So you could even pivot in that direction if you wanted to, but Talk to us about self-assessment, self-awareness when you're leading others.
Self self-assessments and self-awareness helps to build relationships. You understand your strengths and your weaknesses, and so you know how to fill gaps or get your gaps filled. Be able to identify what is going to be a match, or how to enhance or pep up somebody to use those skills that they may be lying dormant. It helps also for me with decision making and crucial conversations. It helps with the, not to be biased. So I'm already aware of what's going to be my trigger points. So you
Mhm.
can already work on emotional intelligence so that you can approach with a level head into different situations that may come up in leadership when you practice self-assessments and awareness.
Wow, that was loaded. Decision quality and emotional intelligence really jumped out there at me. Love what you shared there. Yanni, we'd love to hear from you on the topic of self-assessment and self-awareness. How important is that as we're leading others?
That is such an important thing, Renisha. The way I look at it, leadership is really a relationship. I was in the airport yesterday and was proud of myself that I was able to step back and reassess the situation. I was put in a situation that I have to deal with the counter, which I normally don't do that. I normally would just go to the airport, skip the line, we do the pre-check, boom, I'm in the security and move on. But yesterday I was pulled to the security line, or not the security line, the counter line, because I have to deal with my pre-check situation. I did not have the pre-check on my boarding pass. So I approached the counter asking them what's going on. And the lady was not even able to help me, but she was stalled there without even asking more questions, as if saying, "Done, this is the situation, you move on, you have to go, I cannot help you." But instead of being mad and said, "I need a manager," I was glad I able to step back and say, and reassess what's going on. Is this a busy area or busy time? It was not. So instead of asking whether I can talk to the manager, I said, "Can you find someone that has the experience that you probably did never encountered and be able to help you helping me?" So that actually come up to be more successful than be insist that, "Why can you help me?" As someone else. So relationship and be able to assess the situation.
And even in moments like that, you didn't know her, but you took the opportunity to build relationship in that moment, and your choice of words were so key to getting a different result. I love that you shared that, and I've had my share of encounters in airports. We definitely have a whole nother panel about airports, specifically Hartsfield Jackson. Lee, you're up next. Talk to us about the importance of self-assessment and self-awareness when we think about leadership.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about is leadership in general, and what is the culture of leadership here in America, over the world. It used to be the leadership model of having a leader dictate to those that are around them. But then we're moving away from that as a culture. And what we have before us now is leadership collaboration. There's more collaboration than there is just a leader telling you what to do. So in order to survive in that type of environment, the collaborative environment, we must know ourselves. We must know ourselves first before we get to know others. And if we're going to be coming to the table of leadership, then we must be able to collaborate, and we must be able to know the seat that we take at the table. And when we take that seat, we must be individuals or leaders that could actually make our contribution to the table. So it's more of knowing ourselves, knowing our contribution, and then knowing how to either adapt or knowing how to be able to adjust to those that are around us. So the key word for me tonight is collaboration, being able to collaborate with those that are around us rather than sit at the table and think that I would be just talking to everyone else. It's not that. It's collaboration, is being able to adapt and be able to blend with others, know ourselves, and understand what others bring to the table.
Lee, thank you. That was loaded. I took a couple of notes while you were speaking with us. We think about the power of assessment. What type of hard data, if you will, can I obtain about myself, whether it's our strengths examination, a disc training. A Toastmasters has many assessments that tells you what type of communicator you are, what type of leader you are. And then that builds the awareness. You then know how to pull the lever of that strength. And then in other areas where it's an opportunity, I never use the term weakness. I always say it's an opportunity. It's a springboard. Now that has opportunity for growth, development, feedback, coaching, etc. And one more key lead that you left us with is adaptability. When we think about awareness and assessment, we must not be afraid to adapt. That is a key leadership attribute, and that'll lead to collaboration, adjustments, and everything else that we need. You all are making it really hot on the panel. So I want to go to our next question. And that is, I've added these questions in the chat so that our audience members can also reflect on them. And by the way, audience, there are a few of you in here. If you have something you want to add, just click that raise your hand icon. We'd love to make you a guest panelist and add you in as well. We're treating our answers table topic style, 1 to 2 minutes. So that way we can spread this table and everyone has a seat, as Lee just conveyed. So the next question for discussion: how can we provide opportunities to help others lead either with or without authority? Some people will step up and volunteer just to be impactful. They don't honestly want a title. Then there are others that will step up and be impactful, and one of their rewards is to receive that title. But how can we provide opportunities so people can be seen and heard? And that's where they're leading with or without authority. We're going to go back to Lee. We'll go in the reverse order this time. So Lee, talk to us about how we can provide those opportunities to others and help them step up.
I was thinking about bringing others alongside of me, bringing others alongside of us as we perform different tasks. We can invite them to serve, and sometimes, given the opportunity, leaders will rise to the occasion. Leaders will just do what they do. Even if they're serving alongside of you, they have a tendency to be leaders. Before you know it, they're leading you. So I was thinking, as I said, of bringing people alongside of me with different tasks. I can think in particular when I first joined Toastmasters and I got into collaborating with others. And there was this one individual that I just really knew she had the leadership ability about herself. I asked her to come alongside of me. And just as she came alongside of me, immediately she was in leadership mode. So sometimes it's bringing people alongside of you, inviting them to come along. They may be a little hesitant at first, but because you ask them, they will do it. So that's my take on that.
Wow. And Kelmikas typed something very powerful in the chat. She talked about shadowing and asking them to serve on a committee to build skills. That will definitely help with visibility. I love that. Yanni, talk to us about that as well. You know, how can we help those others with opportunities to either lead with or without authority so they can be seen and heard?
Great question. The way I look at that was sometimes you can, as a leader, you should be able to pinpoint in the team when they are not leading that might have potential to be a leader. So from that angle, you are able to approach them, praise something, could be a small win that to start with, and then move them along to see what you can do to support them. It's just a matter of, do you like to do this? I see the potential. Just get them to be able to step up and give them the opportunity. Because a lot of them, probably 9 out of 10, if you ask them, if you know that you build that relationship first, and then you be able to ask them, and most of them, they probably didn't even realize they have that potential. And when you have that eye on them and you know they can do it, they will be able to do that. So it's just really going to be asking the question and knowing who you are approaching.
Knowing who you are approaching. Love that. And Kelmika's quoted you too, Yanni. Praise what they do well. People love praise and recognition. It goes a long way. It builds morale. Katrina, share with us your thoughts about that.
My way of getting others to lead with or without authority is to do as you state. I do authentic leadership. When I normally step into a team or have to lead, I'm very open about my strengths and areas of opportunity that they would have to step up and fill my gaps, which is an opportunity for them to shine, even if they don't want the title, which actually worked for me to step up into leadership. I like being in the shadow. So in my career, before I retired and got into leadership, I would say, hey, I'll help you by using my skills. And it came with people that gave credit or praise. It's like, no, but you're going to take the credit. Now, I have worked for some people that, that didn't give me the credit, which didn't bother me until I started getting leaders that gave me the credit. And that gave a different inspiration for me to step up. So I do the same for others. Here is me being open and honest, and it builds trust and loyalty for them to know it's okay for them to show their areas of opportunity so someone can fill the gap. And normally someone steps up, especially when you are good to others, others are good to you. If they know that it's something you're struggling, they want to see you succeed as a leader. So I always take that as an opportunity for them to shine, for them knowing my areas of opportunity where they can shine.
Wow. And it sounds like you're creating some safe places for people to feel comfortable and trust you enough to do that as well.
Yes.
Excellent. I got a lot out of that. All right, we're heading over to Elaine the Great. Elaine, talk to us about those opportunities we can give others to help them step up and lead.
Oh, there are so many. What came to my mind as I was hearing this is the many meetings that we've all had to attend if we're in a working day. And some of them, it's like, I really don't have to be there, or I can't be there. And sending someone else to attend on behalf of another. The greatest disservice that you can do to when you are sending someone to a meeting on your behalf is not being clear as to whether or not you have they have your rights to make a decision on behalf of that leader. That is something that the first time it was ever given to me, I was, kind of surprised. It was like, you understand it, you know it, make a decision, it'll be all right. You're not going to fall flat on your face. Just whatever needs to be done, you know it, do it. And it was that encouragement to say, you're empowered, make a decision, I trust you. That's what I got out of one little circle.
Wow. And imagine the results you can get when we help others feel empowered. That's one of my personal testimonies. My previous manager would send me to meetings where she was supposed to be a spokesperson, but she valued my subject matter expertise. And she empowered me to go in that room with executive presence and represent her. And she put some fail safes in place to make me feel supported as well. And I listened to a panel recently at work where there was an individual. She said, I wanted to grow from being an analyst to a senior analyst. And I asked my leader, what can I do to set myself apart? And she said, I tell you what, there are certain assignments that I would normally send to a senior analyst. I will try it on you just to see how you do. Now, keep in mind, if something happens, you don't do as well as you think you are, you won't be graded by this, but I want you to feel and handle, because you want this level. So let me let you feel and handle it so you know exactly what you're asking for. And those are all really good, tangible examples for those of us that are growing corporate, entrepreneurial, wherever we are in our respective places. And before we leave that topic, Yolanda, I want to give you the opportunity to share with us of how we can help others with opportunities to either lead with or without authority.
Well, thank you, Renisha. There's not much left for me to say. I think the previous panelists have covered quite a bit, but I'll add just a little bit. As two questions: with authority or without authority. Well, to give them authority, I might nominate them for a position. For example, an officer position in the club, or perhaps for a committee if we're at work. And usually, if somebody is nominated, even if they hadn't considered that position, they will accept it in a kind way, or even if they're surprised, they will accept the nomination. And if not, usually they have a very good reason, but they're still flattered that they were nominated. And then if it's somebody to lead without authority, I would ask them for their opinion. I would let them know that I value their opinion because of their expertise or their experience in that particular field or with that particular problem. And in that way, I would receive their advice, and they would realize that their input is valuable and they've influenced the direction that we're moving with their opinion.
Nicely done, Yolanda. I love it. Kelmika's put this in the chat. She said, help them understand a title is not required to lead. Share other ways to lead that make them comfortable, but also stretches them. Our very own distinguished Toastmaster, Marcia Williams, said, leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. Nicely done. So now that we know we are creators, we can create more leaders. What are we doing to transfer knowledge and impart into others to help them get ready? And that comes in the form of mentorship. When we think about building a pipeline for tomorrow, tapping untapped potential for emerging leaders, what are we doing to help them get ready? So I want to hear as we open up, and I may even put one of my fellow leaders on the spot if she doesn't mind. Marcia, can you tell us a little bit about when you've tapped someone on the shoulder and said, hey, I see you, I've heard you, you're shining, have you considered? Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Thank you for that. Mentorship is seeing the light in someone and help to bring it to fore. I had a very good example of something that occurred yesterday. There is a brand new member who wants to be a leader. She has certainly grown, but tend to be shy and less confident at times. It just so happened that I was charged to hold an ad hoc training, and I asked her to participate. She was over the moon. She did a fantastic job that even the new club, which we had an ad hoc officer training with, commended her. So there are times that we see something in someone and we may not do anything about it, but with mentorship, it allows that person to even grow exponentially and bring others along. And in a club, if there is such an environment, it feeds leadership. Because as you mentioned, we're in the midst of selecting officers for the next year. But do we wait to tap someone, or do we make them part of a committee to prepare them for that role. So I do believe that mentorship goes a long way. It's something that I believe in dearly, and I will definitely work with the district on that because mentorship matters.
Okay. I want to ask a very open and honest question because this almost prevented me from untapped potential in my own Toastmasters life. I had heard commentary such as, don't become an area director. It's way too much work. Don't step up and be a club officer. It is time consuming. And this can be pitched to anyone that feels they have a solid answer on this right now. How can we change that narrative in our district, amongst our areas, and everywhere, where even though we know it's hard work and we know it's really time consuming, but it's so worth it? It's so valuable. It's enriching the lives of others. What can we do to change that narrative? We're hot in election season, and maybe somebody's on the edge and they're like, I heard it's hard work. I heard it's a lot. It's too many meetings. But what can we start to do to change that narrative, everyone?
I would say testimonials. Tell how the journey impacts you, because it's not about going to the meetings, visiting clubs twice a year, but what do you give? What do you receive? It's a two-way street. I feel that I have grown as a leader beyond Toastmaster because of my role as an area governor. I learned so much about organizing a meeting, conflict resolution, and project planning. And that certainly helped me in my career during that time because of how new those responsibilities were and the end result. So I do not really speak to the drudgery of the role. I don't think there is any, because in life, it's what you take from it. It is a journey. So that is what I speak to. I speak about the benefit you derive. What are the benefits of being an area director? You learn to have relationships. You can grow others and grow yourself. And that is two things that come to mind immediately.
Fantastic. And Elaine's on the line tonight. Elaine, I'm watching you bloom out of your area director era, and now you are blossoming into division director. What was that main thing that really attracted you to step up and keep with the journey and go on into division director versus saying, oh, I'm done. Area director was nice. It's been real, you guys. No more. What made you keep going? I think leaders need to hear that. Why do we keep going?
You're gonna laugh when I tell you. This year as an AD was my second go round of an AD. The first go round was in my memory, my dreams, they were bad dreams. It was very hard. It was very difficult. It was just a red hot mess. Everybody was still virtual. It was pre-COVID. And it just wore me out. And I was a whole lot younger and I had a whole lot less gray hair than I do today. Why did I do it last year? See if I can figure out what happened with that craziness. Oh, we need help.
Mm-hmm.
I was approached, and I won't point fingers at Yanni Wynn. She's sitting right there. I won't point any fingers at Yanni, and I won't point any fingers at my current division director, but they convinced me to come back. I was very apprehensive about coming back because I knew of the time commitment and I had some personal stuff going on in our life that wasn't sure how it was going to go. So this year, succession planning and meeting with our division director and the area directors, of which there were only 3 of us. We had an area with no director. It was a struggle, but I realized it was it wasn't as hard to get through that those crazy contest seasons and visit those clubs, and it wasn't as bad. So as he's talking, trying to talk up division director, I'm sitting here listening. I'm going, wait a minute, as division director, I have 4 team members who can do the work and work with their respective 4 teams. I just need to be the solid rock and guide them as they're going and help get their feet on the path.
Wow.
So honestly, I prayed about it. I talked to my beloved about it, said, honey, he said, I'm going to see you. Will I see you this year? Yes, honey, you'll see me this year. And so, as the saying goes, say yes then. And I'm excited. I'm excited more about division director than I ever was about area director. Sorry to admit it, but true.
Well, we want to keep that excitement going. You said so many powerful truths in your response. And one thing that resonated with me, even as I'm entering into senior 7 this year as logistics manager, I won't just be leader Renisha by myself. I'm entering a team as leaders. Let's help the emerging leaders know you're not coming in it by yourself. You should be building a team, whether that's people that hold you accountable, that provide you support, or that you're able to delegate tasks to, whatever that looks like. Just remember, leadership is not solo, it's all about teamwork. Yolandi, I cannot let this pass. I believe in your introduction, you told us you've been around for 30 years. That's almost 30% of the time that Toastmasters has been in existence. I know there's a wealth of wisdom that lies within you. In 30 years, if someone said, Yolandi, why are you still here? Why are you still leading? Why do you still show up? Imagine I'm a new leader, no experience. I'm yearning for some answers. What would you tell me? Why have you been around this long? What keeps you around?
Very good question, Renisha. And I do sometimes get that question. Usually I tell them it's the leadership part that I really enjoy, but the part that I need to work on is my communication skills. So mostly what's keeping me here is the communication skills, maintaining my communication skills. But the leadership part, I enjoy. If you ask me to do a project, first of all, I would want to know what the goal of the project is. And then I concentrate on achieving that goal. Then I pull together all the resources I need to achieve that goal. To me, that's fun. I could have a day at work where I'm frustrated because I can't get things done. I can't reach people. But at Toastmasters, I can talk to people. I can ask them to help out with something. Usually they're very willing to help. And I can see how I am moving towards my goal. How could not anyone see that as fun?
I love that. And let's not forget about the fun component in the leadership as well. We have some serious moments, but some of my greatest fun memories have come from the best people on the planet, which are Toastmasters. I mean, we've had some amazing times. And yes, we do have fun while we're growing and we're maturing. Our very own distinguished Toastmaster, and she's this year's program quality director, but District 44 director-elect Tanisha Bulla put something fiery in the comments. This year, we've been all about reigniting the passion within our members. And she said mentorship is about igniting a fire in others and revealing their untapped potential, even if they cannot see the wick of greatness in them. And this year, when we kicked off Toastmasters Leadership Institute at Summer TLI, I charged the people to become developmental arsonists. Katrina, I know you to be a developmental arsonist. When we think about readying people for leadership, attracting them for leadership, what have you done this year to ignite that passion in someone where they would want to step up and move into leadership as well because they've watched you?
The honest answer, Renisha, is I included them in my speeches. each, each time that I got the opportunity to do so, I included them in my speech. In my club, at first I stepped up as VPE, and in my role as VPE, I got to know each and every person and their goal. I did a one-to-one. I wanted to know their personal goal, their professional goals, what was the purpose of them being in Toastmasters, what do they want to receive from it, and then I tied those things into how we were going to transfer those skills to get them what they came here to get. And so each time I charged them with responsibility of what I let them know I would share openly, because we are a growing club. Well, we're reigniting our passion, and so we're growing, and everyone knows everyone very well. So I let them know I'm going to share this with the fellow officers to let them know how we're going to. And so things that I discussed with them that I could openly talk about with the entire club, I included them so that they had more accountability partners about the things that they wanted to step up with, which included officer roles. So I made sure I included how this would help you get to your point A, from point A to point B of the next step that you wanted to take in your personal life or your professional life, and how this so that you can get the most of your investment. I'm in an open corporate club, so they're a club that is we're a club that thankfully those that work for the organization, it's paid for through the organization. But I remind them that I'm a taxpayer. I let them know that this is us working together. So we need to make sure you get the most of your time and the money that's being invested into it, because this is what you said you wanted. And I'm your accountability partner, whether it's from the different levels of a stakeholder. We're in this together. If it's I'm a member, if it's from my current officer role, it's from wherever I transition to, is about the relationship we built because you said you wanted this. So I include them in my speeches to help them remind. And it always is an eye opener, because when they're on the screen, they're like, yeah, I said it, and I'm going to do it. So much so that they start including it back. It's like a conversation. I started being back in their speeches where they said, I know I told Katrina I was going to do this. So I started finding myself. And, when people start repeating something and they start holding themselves accountable, they eventually are going to get it done.
They sure will. That's so true. And Katrina, you just made a very valid point. Just by show of hands with an emoji, how many of you are a part of corporate clubs, by the way? How many corporate club? Or have you been in the past, even if you're not now? I myself am a part of one. Okay, great. So about 50% of the room. Something that I've found in my experience is helping people see the symmetry, whether they're leaders, communicators, in what they do in Toastmasters and how it fits into life. A lot of people are not inclined to take on the leadership journey because they treat it as Toastmasters leadership is separate than real world leadership. And there's an overlap there. There's an undergirding there. I see you, Elaine, right? So some people feel like, oh, I have to work on Toastmasters leadership, then I work on regular leadership, and they're actually right here together. I want to talk to some of my corporate people. Yanni, did you say that you were a part of a corporate club? How are you helping those untapped leaders and current leaders see the work they're doing in Toastmasters is absolutely developing them for the leader they need to be in the real world? They're one and the same. What are you guys doing? What's your secret sauce?
If I understand the question, how do I help the current officer in my club see how that actually help them in their career, in their corporate job?
Yes.
That is a really good question. I myself feel like I am a true leader after I become a Toastmaster for several years. I've been actually a leader even the past 10 years before I joined Toastmasters. but I actually learned a lot more and really feel like I am now truly a leader than before because of Toastmaster. So how do I help other people see is to actually set up example. I go around the, like say in the accounting leadership summit that have over 300 people that joining us in the conversation, because my chief accounting officer have that every quarter. I would promote Toastmasters there just to tell them this is actually going to help ourselves too. And some of the people that is in that group also Toastmasters. So they actually can look at it from the project. When I mentor them, the club members that I mentor for my corporate club, I always point them to the project on anything that related to the project that we do in Pathway, how that actually they can translate there in their own leadership situation. For example, do your 360 feedback or so. Honestly, before I became Toastmaster, I was not even keen of doing that. I was not even want to do that because I feel like I'm not opening up myself. But I showed them I have two members that my direct reports that, oh, they are Toastmaster. I give them my 360 feedback, say, evaluate me, not necessarily related to Toastmaster. Give me the evaluation on how you experience with me the past 6 months. So that's kind of encourage them to see, hey, with the Toastmasters, you can actually really translate your skill set that you learn there to your other worlds outside Toastmasters.
Yanni, I love that you shared that. And Marcia is definitely on the same page with us. Can everybody see my screen that I'm sharing right now? Give me a thumbs up. One of the things that I found in my journey, and after I sum this up, Lee, I want you to tag team after I finish this wrap up here. If you guys are looking at the screen, what you are seeing is a description of responsibilities and skills learned specifically from the Vice President of Education. Now, I chose this role because this panel is hosted by the district level Vice President of Education, which is our very own Tanisha Bulla. She's our program quality director. I found a lot of times we pitch a lot of Toastmasters language to a person getting acclimated in our world. Vice President of Education may not mean much. But if we say, oh, you want to grow in leadership, are you focused right now on strategic planning and strategic thinking? Have you had some experience, or do you want experience with success planning or a positive small group collaboration? Would you like to be in charge of planning events and grow your skill in that area? These are probing, open-ended questions we can ask from responsibilities and skills learned that also translates into rewards. And then the way we close the sale, what I've just described to you is the Vice President of Education at the club. This is the perfect opportunity for you to grow those skills. And then you have other officers around you to hold you accountable, to sharpen you, and to also give you feedback as you grow along the way. So I'm finding when we pitch responsibilities that we will be able to use to build skills and how rewarding that is in our Toastmasters life and beyond, we get a lot more people to get in line in that pipeline we're building tonight and that succession planning. And then you might get an idea of how many people in your Toastmasters club are great at critical thinking. Maybe host the committee that's the critical thinking of revenue Toastmasters. Maybe there are some good people that are good in planning. Maybe that's the planning committee for global orators. Those are just some examples of how we can really sell that a little bit better. Let's go to Lee, and then Elaine, I'm coming to you. So Lee, how do you feel about that? And I know you've done an amazing job down at Tri-Cities. Have you guys had great success selling the skills learned and the benefit more so than just the role? There we are.
I'm here. I had to make sure that my mic was on. But yes, I think that a leader must know and understand the skills that are needed for a particular situation, whether it be an organization or whether it is the club. The leader must know the skills that are needed. And I believe that the leader should start with those hard skills, the soft skills. Start with that. The hard skills being those skills that a person as an individual can do with or without any help from others. And then the soft skills are those interpersonal skills that includes people, it includes others. So a leader must know those skills in order to help people to transfer those skills. As VP of Education, more than one time, is understanding those skills, understanding them, then we're better able to sell those skills to others. Help them to see how the skills are transferred. If they're working on jobs in particular, what are the skills that they are using there on that job, and how those skills can be transferred to the different leadership positions in a Toastmasters club or even on the district level. So yes, the leader must know the skills. I ran into an individual, a leader, and I was just talking to them about the hard skills and the soft skills, and they're looking at me like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, it's a good thing, I believe, to make sure that those that are in leadership positions know what skills are needed in a particular area, or on a particular job, in a particular organization. All of the skills may not be needed, but there are some in particular that are needed. And the leader must know what those skills are so that they're able to help people to transfer their skills to a particular area. So yes, the skills are definitely, they need to be known. We need to know them first, then we can identify them in other people.
Absolutely. And let's work on helping people that talk themselves out of opportunities because they feel they're not adequate or they have what it takes. And we can have that conversation about current state. You feel that you're not sufficient in this area, but say yes to it. And you're saying yes to development. And on the other side, you've got sufficiency and adequacy waiting on you. That's also a success metric for building that pipeline. Elaine the Great, we're tagging you in, lady. Talk to us.
Recently, I don't know, I'd have to look back, but within the last several months, one of the things that we decided to do was ask our members, what's going on? Since you've been a Toastmaster, have you changed roles? Did you get a promotion? Have you used a skill you've learned in Toastmasters? And then we asked them some open-ended questions like, what would you call your category of success? And will you share a story? Well, what's interesting when you look at the numbers, we didn't have a high number of respondents, but what we did have was we had a lot more yeses than we had no's, to the tune of about 90%. So we had, of the respondents, we had, did you change a role? That was a 50% yes, I have. 50% of our members. Did you get promoted? That was a little less, about 40%. Have you used a skill that you've learned in Toastmasters? That was a whopping 90 plus. In the success categories, We had people saying that they had a sense of accomplishment, confidence in speaking, professional maturity, goal achievements, personal growth, and some of their shared stories were that they were a better speaker, did better presentations, and responded to questions in meetings where before they would have sat there and not answered a thing. Contributing in meetings came back out a couple of times, and then writing skills improved and fear of public speaking gone. To me, that was the most powerful response when somebody gets to the point that they're no longer afraid to speak in front of them. Powerful stuff.
Elaine, thanks for sharing that. We may have to follow up with you offline and even get some more best practices. I know Katrina dropped this in the chat. She said that would be great to send out to corporate clubs. And Tanisha has shared with us candidly the percentage of our district right now that's filled with corporate clubs. And there's a lot of opportunity there for drawing symmetry between the skills that are learned in Toastmasters that are ready to go in your current roles, your future roles, wherever you desire to serve as a communicator and as well as a leader. Yolandi, I know that you referenced a Toastmasters in your 30-year tenure. When you think of going back to your job and where you served, what are some leadership skills that you've been able to specifically apply to your roles in your what they call your 9 to 5?
Great question, Renisha. One of the skills that I learned in Toastmasters early on was how to communicate with a group of people through email. Because at my job, I was put in charge of communicating happenings in our facility, and there were about 150 people that needed to receive this information. I learned in Toastmasters how to craft these messages so that they come right to the point and provide the information that the recipients needed. And then on top of that, whenever I went into the meetings, and we had meetings from time to time, that not as frequently as we do now at work, I would speak up when one of the other panelists also mentioned that. I would speak up because of table topics. Right? You do not have to be afraid to give your opinion. It's your opinion. People can accept it, or they can provide their own input, their own opinion on it. And from that, we can come to some sort of conclusion or to some sort of a solution on whatever is being discussed. And then more recently, I was asked to lead a group. We call it the Association of Researchers. I was asked to lead a group, and I organized the way that a Toastmasters club would be organized. I contacted the past president, said, you are part of this board that is leading this organization because you're the past president. You are the memory of the group. And then I put out an announcement asking for members to fill the other roles. I'm the president. I'm looking for a vice president, a treasurer, a secretary. All of those roles are necessary for our group. And people stepped up. At the beginning, I was very much active, making sure that we were moving along with the group as we should, because we're building the group. So I had to be involved. And after a few months, well, more than a few months, I think we're going on a year now, the other members of the team have stepped right up, and they are doing a fantastic job. I am now just standing in the background watching them do the work, and that is just so rewarding.
For those that are live and those that will catch the replay, you've heard it right here. This panel is filled with founders, blueprints, pioneers, and servants. And that can be you too. We definitely want to encourage a person that is sitting on the edge and they don't know if they want to step up and lead. Yolandi used the framework from Toastmasters, reframed it for her culture and the need and the problem she was solving, and it worked. So don't be afraid to borrow the templates and make it work for your environment. We are firm believers. Tanisha always talks about this. You know, we do life with Toastmasters. Toastmasters is our life. It's not something that we treat as a separate entity. One thing we didn't do when we opened up the call tonight was define leadership. And that was important to save now because we've talked about so many attributes and we've talked about, I would say, symptoms, but we haven't truly defined it just yet with our own canned statements. So I want to pitch this to Lee first. We'll go in this order. Lee, if I say the word leadership, how do you define that?
When I hear the word leadership, I think of nothing but verbs. I think about leadership being inspiring, the ability to inspire, the ability to influence, and the ability to impact the lives of others, guiding them towards a common goal, or guiding them towards a vision, a particular vision. So I hear verbs. I hear verbs all over the definition of leadership: inspiring, influencing, impacting, guiding towards a common goal or a common vision. So that's my take on leadership.
Nailed it. Nicely done. Yanni, let's talk to you. How do you define leadership?
Thank you, Ronisha. I think I touched it a little bit at the beginning of this session. For me, it's really a relationship. So a lot of time leader might come to us, say, you need to do this, you need to do this, everything is business. But if you put that understanding your team members, start with your chat with knowing. I love honor my one-on-one on Monday because I get to know everyone in my team member, what they do for the weekend. So that's what I would like to start every question with my team member, even though the Tuesday meeting. How was your weekend have been? What did you do? That way I would get to know their family. I know every single one of their family from just their mention it or how many kids they have, what happened with the mom or dads, things like that. It's just sometimes we forgot about that type of the information. It probably take some time for you to go through that conversation. But again, using that information, you get to know your team members better. And empowering is another word that I would want to say that what leadership really means. Empowering, be able to empower the team members.
Wow. Lee said influencing. Yanni said empowering. Katrina, how do you define leadership?
Oh, they took some of my favorite words. So I'm going to have to go with fostering an environment of resilience, collaboration, and growth.
Nicely done. You all heard that from the Toastmaster herself. Love
I'm like,
it.
well, I want to say inspiration and innovative of something, but now it's like, okay, you got to think. You got to think. What are you doing with all of that? You're fostering an environment of resilience, collaboration, and growth. We want the legacy to continue.
RCG, resilience, collaboration, and growth. I love it. Elaine the Great, how do you define leadership?
Trust in and trusted. The best leaders I've ever had that I would work for again I don't even need a full hand. There was a relationship of trust that was built, that I drank the Kool-Aid. And those leaders worked to develop me. And I, therefore, use many of those techniques as I am leading others, because I need their trust and they need my trust. And if we can't be trustworthy with one another, it doesn't work out.
Wow. Kilmika said, say it again, serving others. Marcia said, relationship, influence, guiding, inspiring. Lee, you laid the foundation with verbs, and everyone else is in full agreement with that. Oh, this is amazing. And Yolandi, you gave such a great example about using that Toastmasters template and leading that group. So, how do you define leadership?
Well, not much left. All the other panelists have used all the great words. So I will use a phrase. I think that a leader keeps in mind the welfare and the well-being of the group that he or she is leading, has the best interest of the group at heart.
I love that. Nicely done. And I want to piggyback off of something that Yolandi said. Because she's done it a couple of times tonight. Number one, she's honored those that came before her and talked about how their responses, were so weighty. And she's like, what else is there left to do? But she's pinpointing something that's very important for us as leaders. We may look and say, well, what else is there to add to it? It looks like everything is great. And one thing we can tell emerging leaders and existing leaders, there's always more. That's how we build the pipeline. We're never finished. We keep growing and going and growing and going. There's always more. Marcia, I want to tap you there. I'm pretty sure you've had some experience in having to impart that message to someone that there is always more. I know you did it to me right before the conference, especially with the Triple Crown Award. You made the leader in me rise up and finish strong. So, how are you empowering people and telling them that it's always more?
One of my mantra is life is a journey. And each and every day we get an opportunity to learn from things around us. And in the club, I tell especially the new members, I'm learning from you. See, when they give their icebreaker, it's not only about themselves, but their interest. So I'm getting a peep into who they are, because it is so important, as Yanni mentioned, if we know what's going on in their life, we can support them and we can lead them. Our district director-elect, she always have a wellness check when she starts a meeting. How profound is that?
Yes.
You know what that says about me? I matter. And as leaders, that's something we can take away, that we're not only the president, the VPE, we are servant leaders. And a lot of times that I write emails in my role currently, I always say I walk alongside you, because I'm not at the top in any way. I do believe that when you give others the opportunity to show themselves the skills they possess and how that allows that group to be successful, you are a leader. It's one of the adjectives that we talked about today. It's not about who is ahead, who's on top, but we're in this together. I hope that answered the question.
It did. And the way I sum up some things that you shared there, I wholeheartedly believe the way we define leadership is the way we're going to demonstrate leadership. If our definition is flawed, then our demonstration is going to be flawed. And we may not attract the future emerging or existing leaders to either step up or to stick around. I always tell people the reason why I stick around Toastmasters. I learned this as a little girl from one of my old pastors. He said, the largest room in the world is room for improvement. I've stepped into spaces and people say, you're so polished, you're so accomplished. Why are you still around? I said, are you kidding me? There's so much more to learn and to explore. And even a polished individual, what can they do? They can go and reach one and bring them up. I get countless appointments. Teach me how to communicate effectively. How do you demand such presence on a stage? I'm like, wow, as a leader, not only am I radiating, but I get a chance to impart into another person. I get a chance to share best practices and tools with them. And you know what I tell them? Hey, when you're ready to step up, let me know. I want to be on the front row to cheer you on and to celebrate you. And if you need a safe place for some constructive criticism, you can count on me for that as well. And I do believe that that is such a powerful recipe. I love what Yanni just put in the chat. Leadership is a journey. So many people are trying to find a destination and they forget to endure with the journey. Marcia said the way we demonstrate leadership tells a lot about ourselves and the roles we are in. I wholeheartedly agree. And before we wrap up for the night, I want to give each one of our panelists, in their own words and in their own way, to sum up what takeaways you want our live audience and the replay audience to remember about this discussion. So it's your takeaway, your summary, your way, however you want to do it. I want to start off with Lee first, our verb lady. Lee, what would you like for emerging existing leaders, whoever's watching this, what do you want them to take away from tonight?
Well, the thing that I want them to take away is, as they are, as we are, inspiring, influencing, impacting, and guiding individuals, that as we do that for them, they in turn do the same thing for us. We learn, they learn. It's all about us learning together. So that is the takeaway for me.
Thank you so much for sharing your takeaway. Yanni, we're continuing on this conversation of the pipeline of leaders succession planning. What do you want our audience to take away tonight?
I would want to say, when that door is open up for you, whatever it is that you know something, someone needs you, an organization needs you. For example, now we need an area directors, a bunch of them. Just do it. It's probably going to be hard. It's going to be definitely not easy, time consuming, but you're really, really growing with that experience. You will. It might be something that you don't even think of before. Oh, I don't have the good organization skills. I do not know how to lead. I don't have a good communication skills, or I'm not good in composing emails. I want to say I was in that position when I was become an area director 3 Toastmasters years ago. But you grow without you realizing it. You really are going to have that opportunity and be a better yourself. So someone opened the door for you, you walk through the door. Back to you.
Awesome. Yanni, I love everything that you shared. When that opportunity presents itself, walk right through. Katrina, what are your takeaways tonight?
Oh, well, you said we could do it our way. So I want to give them a takeaway that my Toastmasters journey is different from most people than pretty much everybody on the panel. But I started volunteering and stepping into leadership because I wanted to dump my skills back into a safe place. So I've been in leadership in my career, but I started a new career, and this was a safe place to try again, to try with a whole new environment and to feel safe about doing it. So sometimes it's about, as Yanni said, just do it. Because I started in one thing in leadership in the district, and 2 hours during the training, I ended up into another position because I kept just raising my hand. As Elaine said earlier, we needed help. And so the cry for help was like, oh my God, well, I didn't want to jump back on the bicycle like this and help, but it was an open opportunity, and it was a great team of support that I had to say, you'll learn the terminology of Toastmasters and all of these things. Don't be afraid of that. We're going to hold your hand through the process. So I got to really experience iron sharpens iron. So if you're sitting, letting your skills rust, this is the place to come back and dump those skills back into it and get to learn new skills and get to see how things have evolved for your skills so that you can iron sharpen iron in this place. So don't be afraid to jump back in if you're in the middle of change. This is the place to feel safe doing so.
Jump back in. I love it, Katrina. I could just imagine in that room how you switched up in a moment's time. Oh, I absolutely love that. Elaine, your way. Tell us, what are some takeaways tonight?
I guess my biggest one is, if asked, don't be afraid to say yes unless you really, really can't for reasons that are beyond the control. Something we don't know about you. But say yes and know that someone is going to help you along the way to learn, and then nudge you along when you're done learning and you come back and say, well, what about this? And that's that big word that starts with an M. It's mentoring. Continue to help them grow, see their growth go. I don't know how I fell into leadership. I honestly don't. But I'm here. I do a very good job at what I do when I figure out what it is I'm doing. But Toastmasters actually grounds me. It really does. There's so much going on that I know how much time I put into Toastmasters, and it's so worthwhile that I would not, it's hard for me to say.
Thank you for sharing. Really appreciate that. And Yolandi, you get to bring up the train your way. What's a good takeaway tonight?
Well, to anyone who's watching, I would say you joined for a reason. You realized that you needed to change a few things in your life. This is your opportunity. You can do it in a safe place, as others have mentioned. You can do it with people who are willing to help you and not judge you. Right? They are also in the same position. They want to change their lives. They want to improve their situation, whatever that is, communication skills or leadership skills. They are here to do the same thing that you want to do. You're in good company.
Good company. I love it. Our panelists have done such an amazing job. Everyone, if you don't mind, please grab an emoji and let's give all of them a round of applause. I am giving one for you all. And even though I'm seated at my desk in my heart, I'm giving you a standing ovation. As leaders, thank you for spending your time with us this evening. And thank you so much for everything that you have shared. I do believe that we can take off like rockets and we can launch into the deep and do great and amazing things. We do just have a couple of minutes. So if there are some audience members that were not a part of our panel that would like to take about 60 seconds and share something with us before we wrap up, we definitely would love to give you that opportunity. Just click the raise your hand emoji. We'll bring you on the virtual stage as we wrap up, and you take about 60 seconds if you want to let us know your takeaways or anything that you want to share with us before we close tonight. Anybody have anything? Marcia was our bonus panelist tonight. We appreciate her taking those impromptu moments, and that was done by divine design. Not all the time are you prepared or you warned. Sometimes you step up because you're asked to in the moment. She definitely embodied that and demonstrated that tonight. I also want to give a special love and shout out to our very own program quality director, district director-elect, distinguished Toastmaster Tanisha Bulla. She has been an amazing engineer behind the scenes. Very great support for all 5 Lighthouse lessons this year. This is the closeout for the education committee. Again, this is why you're chartering the territory of leadership. There's that lighthouse to draw you in and give you hope and let you know that you can definitely do this. So we've been so proud. Lee Ice and myself have been your education chairs this year, and we have had an amazing time serving. And I think that I should give Lee some love. Lee, with this being our last Lighthouse lesson, I'll give you the honors of closing us out with whatever you'd like to share.
Yes, I have had fun with the education committee, and we have reached out. We've done cross training. We've done some of everything this year. So we are excited. We're excited for the coming Toastmaster year, excited for what is going to be displayed before us through our brand new leaders that are coming on board. So we are not only serving as the committee for the past Toastmaster year, but for the new year coming up. If there's ever a time that you need help, a listening ear, please feel free to call on us. We are here to help at Toastmasters. So please feel free to reach out to all of us. So I say have a great new Toastmaster year, and I'm sure that I will see all of you around, and those that are listening online, we will see you. So please feel free to reach out to us at any time. Thank you so much for being a part of the Lighthouse lessons and all that we had to offer for this coming year.
Excellent. Lee, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And with that being said, we are shifting now from reigniting our passion, and in the upcoming 2024-25 year, we're getting ready to rise up, rise up, rise up. So existing and future leaders, that is your charge. And we'd like to say good night and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.